Hi, this is 50 Shades of Stefanya, where I talk about anything and everything under the sun, under the shade, wherever, along with my guests. I hope you join me. Hello, everybody. This is Stefanya with 50 Shades of Stefanya. And today's special guest is Deb Parsons, representing the Women Veterans of San Antonio organization. And she's going to share a little bit about this group and the way they support our women veterans. So she will be joining us very shortly. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining the 50 Shades of Stefanya show. And let's this as I mentioned earlier before you joined, I was introducing you as representing the Women Veterans of San Antonio organization. And so I wanted to thank you for your time to join us today.
And thank you for this opportunity.
And it's really funny when, just so folks know, I'm a veteran and I recently moved to the San Antonio area and I was looking for a veteran group to join. And I came across this lovely group and I'm really excited to be part of it. So, Deb, let's just jump right in. What's the overall mission of the group?
Okay. Our mission is to serve, honor, and empower women veterans from all eras and branches of service. And we do this by just finding ways to network, socialize, volunteer, and give back to the veteran community. And also, a big part of what we do is to bring public awareness to the specific issues of women veterans.
Nice, nice. And it's really funny that um, some people don't realize that women are veterans.
Right. Even here in Military City, USA, we encounter it every day. I was on terminal leave. I was on active duty and drove through the gate with my husband, who's also a veteran, but quite, grizzly and bearded. And the security forces member leaned in the car to him and said, "Thanks for your service, Chief." And we drove away like, "Wait, what just happened? I'm the chief. I outranked my husband, and I'm the one that's still in the military." But we were both so stunned that it was eye-opening for my husband too, because then he realized, "Okay, I see what you've been saying."
Wow. Wow. A similar story is I was at a group, a social function where there were a lot of seniors, which in my mind they should know better, but oh well. and and so the host of the evening, he said, I would like to have all the veterans stand up so we could acknowledge you. And so I did, and I was the only female in the group. They said, "Thank you for your service," and stuff like that, and they acknowledged us, and I sat back down, and some of the old gals, they were giving me the stink eye, and I was like, "What's going on?" Right? And so afterwards, they came over to me and they said, "Why did you stand up?" Because 'Cause I'm a veteran." "Oh, no, no, you must be in the auxiliary." I'm like, "No, I'm a veteran. I served my time and I'm proud of it." And they were like, "Well," so then they started quizzing me. Like, "Well, where did you serve?" I like, "Well, I served in Berlin during the occupation." And they were like looking at me like, "Is she make," and I thought, "Wow, how I'm having to defend my story that I was in the military." It's like I just felt so uncomfortable with that. So anyway, so I'm really happy that your group exists to help educate people that yes, not it's not only guys.
Right. And we get that from people from all ages. And we've had women serving in the military really since the Civil War, and we still face this type of discrimination every day.
Wow. And I think it's just a matter of just people just don't know. I mean, it's silly, but I mean, it's ignorance or they just don't know.
That's definitely a word for it. And I get some folks may not encounter women veterans, and I get
Sure.
that. But again, Military City, USA, San Antonio, and to still encounter that, we have I know of a women veteran who is disabled and parked in the veteran parking lot and had somebody get in her face to question why she was parking in the veteran parking lot, in a veteran parking spot.
W
That's just unfathomable. I don't know that I would react very positively if somebody did that, but the other day, I made sure to park in one of those spots just because,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Mm. Oh, well, hey, so, tell
right?
us a little bit about your background and how you became involved with this group.
Okay. I served in the Air Force for over 25 and a half years and retired technically out of Tyndall Air Force Base, which is in Florida, right as Hurricane Michael hit. So we went ahead and just, I wanted to move to San Antonio. My husband wanted to stay in Florida. The hurricane kind of changed our minds on that one. And so we ended up here in San Antonio. My career, I did services in the Air Force, which is a combination of food, recreation, fitness, lodging, mortuary. It's a very, very diverse career field. And then I also did time as an instructor, a first sergeant, and a superintendent, and did deployments and was stationed all over the world. So I deployed to Korea, Sarajevo, Afghanistan,
Wow.
Qatar, Jordan. So definitely served everywhere. So ended up here in San Antonio, and I was deployed and then went into hurricane. So everything's busy, 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 and then here I am on terminal leave with really nothing, going to the gym, but no real mission. And I struggled with that. And I knew people in San Antonio, but I didn't have my tribe. So I went to a Texas Women Veterans Day event a few years ago and felt like, okay, this is where I belong, and ended up being the president for 2 years, and now I'm the secretary, and I just passionately believe in what our organization does and can do.
Nice. Nice, nice, and I know you have a lot of events that actually, you have quite a few events that folks can, attend. Now, can only women attend the events?
So, it depends on the event. We are a membership organization, so we do some events for our members. For example, next week we're going to celebrate 10 years of our organization and have a party, and we'll do a members only event for that. But then other events like Texas Women Veterans Day, anybody can come out, or any volunteer events that we do, when it's feasible, anybody can come out.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Well, so how long has this organization been active?
So it was founded in 2013 by Robin Walker Dublin. And basically, she was leaving the military and knew that she was going to miss the camaraderie that we do have in the military. So she started it as kind of a grassroots organization, really just more about socializing, some volunteering, just getting women veterans together. As it grew, she saw the potential to become a nonprofit. And so we became a 501c 19 veteran nonprofit in 2016. And we just keep growing and making our presence known across the area.
Nice. Nice. So with the overall with the veterans group, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about women in the military, and how do you dispel them through your work with this group?
So again, we kind of went over, a lot of women are told they're not veterans. They're told, well, you didn't deploy overseas. The thing is, nobody goes to a male veteran and goes, oh, well, you're not a combat vet, so therefore you're not a vet. But people are really comfortable doing that with women. And so we want to remind everyone that, your service counts. Whether you did just a little bit of time or you did enough time to retire, you voluntarily raised your right hand in service of our country. And so that is really important.
How do you get that message out? I mean, I know it's one thing for our group and like, yeah, we know we're veterans, we're wearing the shirt, and so how do we get that out to the masses?
Just by attending events, by talking to veterans, and we have run into older veterans or non-veterans that kinda joke, "Oh, yeah, okay, military, sure," and we set them straight. Like, we've got women that are combat veterans. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean you weren't put in that position.
Mhm.
So, just getting the word out, it's really important, and, I personally wear my shirt anytime I go to the VA, so somebody doesn't assume, "Oh, your husband's here being treated."
Yeah.
No, I'm a veteran too. And we also just bring women together in a safe space, just to be around each other, and that in
Nice.
itself, I feel really helps, and especially for those women that may have a hard time realizing that they are veterans, that their service does count and it does matter.
Good. Well, hopefully this podcast will help get the word out as well, to folks, and so that they also know, hey, we served our duty to our country, and we want equal acknowledgement. So, but yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
I like to wear, whenever I go to the VA. I always I like to wear my shirt as well, and it's fun. People go, "Oh, where'd you get that shirt?" And I tell them, "Well, there's a
Or
really
they
good
quest
group here."
or they have questions. Oh, wait, what is that all about? And it's a
Uh-huh.
great time to just share the information.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, now, can you share any stories of any particular impactful moments or experiences that you or your members of your group have had while serving or after leaving the military?
I would say, we get a lot of phone calls, and this kind of ties back to my first sergeant days where I would get these kind of phone calls of women just needing help or just needing to talk to someone. And anyone that we can get resources to, I consider that very impactful. We may not have the financial means to give every woman veteran that needs money, but we know of other organizations that can provide resources, and just getting everybody in touch and making those connections. And there have been women that we've been able to get set up with, for example, the AGIF. Um, Let me start that one again. The GI Forum through AGIF, we've been able to link women and get them housing and get them, employment so that they can move on with their lives. And every time we do that, that's impactful.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's significant. Well,
It
yeah.
really is. Housing instability is a serious thing. Veteran women are more than twice as likely as non-veteran women, 3 times as likely as non-veteran women living in poverty to experience homelessness. And this is just, I mean, just look at the finances in the world today. It's not going to get better soon. So I was listening to a podcast today. Sorry, it might be a competing podcast,
No,
but
it's fine.
it's the Yes, it is the Yes, I Am a Veteran podcast. And Brandy Pett was interviewing Drew Walston from Mighty Hero Homes. He brought up that single parent women veterans are the fastest growing homeless population across the country.
Wow.
Um, and it's really staggering. And the problem is, as women veterans, we're less likely to ask for help. We're less
Mm,
likely to reach out and just try to figure things out. But a lot of the women out there may not know they qualify for veteran benefits,
hmm,
that there's programs that can help. They may not, women and men may not consider themselves homeless because, well, they're sleeping on someone's couch. But if you don't have permanent housing, that's
sure.
the definition of homelessness.
Yeah.
So, that's a big challenge. We give out supplies, particularly hygiene supplies, at different events around the city, or just to groups that say that they need them. But the problem is, if you don't have women veterans that need the help coming to these events, it's really the challenge is reaching out and getting it to the folks that need it.
Yes. Yeah, and that's good. It's really good to get the word out. It's funny. Um, so I got out of the military in 80, oh gosh, 89.
Just a
That's how
couple
old
years
I
ago.
am. I know. But it wasn't until 2018 that I learned that I could get benefits from the VA. And the only way I knew about it was I had a friend of mine, a comedian friend of mine, when I was living in the Denver area. He's a vet. And I was complaining to him that, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to work for the rest of my life because I have physical issues. I'm gonna have to have insurance, and that's the only way that I can do this." And he said, "Well, just go to the VA." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, and he literally took me by the hand and took me to the VA in Denver and walked me up to the enrollment and got me enrolled that day. And I was like, I never knew.
That can change a life.
Yeah.
And especially for someone who might be on the street that may not have resources, may not have
Yes.
medical care, mental health care. That's huge. But I mean,
Absolutely.
I feel like up until recently, a lot of people separated from the military not knowing about those benefits, not
Yeah.
knowing that they qualified. That wasn't part of their, TAP briefing as they left the service. And I see this with male and female veterans that are out there. Now, what I do like that the VA is doing is they're recognizing that we are a growing
Yes.
population. And so they actually have women specific programs. They have representatives at most of their facilities specifically for these women programs. And that's so important. They have to stay on top of that.
Yes, yes, that's good. Yeah, yeah, and I use the opportunity anytime I can to let people know, "Go to the VA." "What? Go to the VA."
They even do virtual and in person briefings specifically for women veterans to talk about the programs that, we may not know are available to us at the VA. And especially, as women, as we age and different changes we may go through, they have support for that.
Nice.
I've been seen by the VA day one since I retired, but I didn't even know that there were so many programs for women veterans.
That's great, that's great. Well, I'm gonna check into that as well because, it sounds like you've run across a few other programs that maybe I might not have looked into, so I think I'm gonna do that.
Yes, definitely. There's actually a briefing coming up this month that the Wounded Warrior Program is hosting
Oh,
for women
wonderful.
veterans.
Alright, I'll have to go
Well, they'll
check
brief
that
all
out.
this.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, so now as we move through time, how do you see the landscape for women veterans changing in the coming years? And what do you hope will happen in terms of support and recognition?
So our population is growing, and especially here in Texas. So we already have the largest population of women veterans. Back in 2020, it was 190,000 in the state and projected to grow by 7.6% by 2025. So with this growth, obviously there needs to be more support, all different avenues. And again, the VA and Texas Veterans Commission, I feel have really jumped on this, and they have women veteran specific programs. But there's also going to be a greater need for medical, mental health support, housing, childcare, because that can be a barrier to employment, and then just
Mm,
employment. So there needs to be a focus on the specific needs, because they can be different than our male counterparts.
sure, sure. Well, it sounds like the work that you're doing with this organization is very rewarding.
Yes, it absolutely is.
That's great. That's
Um,
great.
where to begin? I mean, it just being able to help. When I retired from the military again, I was in that limbo of I don't know what to do. I got a certification, but I didn't really want to go back in the workforce right away. I would say anybody who is trying to figure out civilian life or coming up on it, find your tribe. There are so many women veteran groups in San Antonio and really across the country. Although I will say there's a lot of areas that lack this, but besides us in San Antonio, and you've got Pink Berets, Grace After Fire, we've got the military sororities, Kappa Epsilon Psi and Alpha Gamma Xi, Women in the Air Force, Final Salute, Vets Like Her, Friendship is the New Pretty, the Women Overseas Service League, which is pretty cool, the Women Marine Association, the Military
Wow.
Women's Memorial. And I mean, there's probably some I haven't even, included, but we all work together. We may have different focuses on how we help women veterans, but we all work together, and it's, power in numbers.
That's wonderful. Now, there's a lot of groups that you listed that I haven't, heard of. I would like to have a list of those, maybe to add even to the description when we post this podcast, just so that people are aware of all of these different groups. I mean, obviously, I'm very a proponent of this group, and I think it's really good to have. Yeah, I know. Yay! And so I think it's also good to have some other ones listed as well, so that if other folks were like, "Oh, I think I'd like to join the Pink Berets or something else," they could do that as well. Because I think this is really, really great. Lovely.
Yeah. Well, a good way to meet all of these groups will be at our Texas Veterans Day event that is next month on June 10th, and all of the women veteran organizations should be there. I know most of them have already committed. It's a great time just to see what they're all about and meet some of their people.
Well, I remember last year's event was really nice, and I thank you for inviting me to that one to sing the anthem last year. So
Thank you for singing it.
that was an honor. So thank you so much. So I'm definitely planning on going. I'll probably have I'm having surgery yeah, on the 23rd. So so I'll probably showing up with the monster mummy thing on my hand, but at least I'm going to be there.
Make it match your shirt, and then you'll be set.
Make it pink. Right. Okay. Well, good.
So our event's gonna be on June 10th. So actually June 12th is Texas Women Veterans Day, but it's even bigger than just Texas. So it's also the 75th anniversary of when women were allowed to serve in the regular military. So up until then, World War One, World War II, there was a need to bring women in to serve in the military for various roles. And then the war would end and okay, bye, you guys are back out on the streets
Uh,
and you may not even be considered as veterans, which I can't even fathom. So on June 12th, 1948, President Harry Truman signed into law the Women Armed Forces Services Integration Act, and it allowed women to serve as permanent regular members of all of the branches. Um, Now, it was only 2% of the total population. If you had a baby or you got married, that was it. You were done, you were out. But that was the start to where we are now. So then and I get a lot of questions. Well, why do women have a separate Veterans Day? But it's not. It's recognition of this date, which then allowed us to serve because before that, we weren't serving in the same capacity as men. So then in 2017, Representative Victoria Nieve filed House Bill 2698, and that established Women Veterans Day here in Texas and was then signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott. And so that this is the fifth anniversary of this date of this bill being signed. So a lot of, really important dates that we're going to be recognizing this year.
nice.
So it's gonna be June 10th from noon to 3 at the San Antonio College Victory Center, which is an amazing, beautiful facility. And we will have last year we had over 40 different veteran organizations out, and this year we're gonna top that. We're gonna be giving 200 swag bags away, so the first 200 women veterans. We're gonna be providing lunch and just we had entertainment, we had amazing prizes. I tell you what, we have a very, very generous community, and they donated some great prizes last year, and just to show women veterans appreciation for our service.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, I'll definitely make sure I put that in my calendar to go.
Well, I would hope
Check some
so.
yes. So, hey, so before we close, I do have a kind of an off the wall question for you. So, if I were to give you a magic wand and this magic wand was so powerful that you could change anything, anywhere, anytime, whatever you'd want, what would you do with it and why?
I would take away the issue of veteran homelessness. Anybody who served their country should not be on the streets, should not have to worry about where their next meal is coming or worried about the weather because they're out in the elements. I don't know what the fix is for that, but if I had a magic wand, that would be gone and all veterans would have housing stability.
Nice, nice. So, where could people reach you or get involved with your group?
Sure. So we have a meetup page, and that's our membership page for women veterans only. But we are also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Had to think of that last one. You can reach out to us any of those means. You can email us at womenvetsofsa@gmail.com. So we're pretty easy to get a hold of. You can see us at a lot of veteran events across town. For example, this Saturday there is a stand down for homeless veterans and non-veterans that's going to be downtown, and we're going to be part of that, distributing the hygiene supplies that are so needed.
Lovely, lovely. Well, I will make sure that I post all that information and probably include that in the video as far as at least the email. And then if somebody just searched on Google for Women's Veterans of San Antonio, they'll be able to find you.
Absolutely. We also have a webpage, and so that's probably what will pop up first,
Oh,
and we have,
excellent.
information, our Twitter and Facebook, feeds link to it. We've got any resource I get that, we check and make sure it's actually a legit resource. We will put it out there, so anything from housing to food assistance to education benefits, all of that's out on our page as well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming online and talking about your lovely organization. I know I had, I have a really good time with your group, and I invite all the other women veterans to really consider this group. And Deb is an amazing person, and and
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
yeah. So well, thanks for joining, and
Thank you for having me.
I look forward to talking with you again very soon.
Very soon. Thank you for your time. I
All right.
appreciate this.
Thank you. All righty. Bye. So that's it for today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please spread the word and like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Until next time, this is Stefanya, and this has been 50 Shades of Stefanya. Bye bye.